COVID-19 pandemic has no doubt ravaged the entire globe, and bringing it home to Nigeria, many small-scale businesses have closed shop. A report by the Faith Foundation titled The Impact of COVID-19 on Nigerian SMEs showed that an overwhelming 94% of businesses have been negatively impacted by the pandemic, particularly in the areas of cash flow, sales, and revenue. The report, which was developed in partnership with Budget Nigeria, details an analysis of responses from 1,943 micro, small, and medium enterprises across the 36 states in Nigeria, including the FCT. So how do these SMEs navigate their way through the COVID-19 waters? Joining me to discuss this is the Jeffrey Williams Edem. He's the Group Business Head, Merchant Payment Solutions at InterSwitch, and also a consultant. Jeffrey, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to start with one of the questions that was asked of these SMEs in this survey by Faith Foundation and Budget was, what do you need from government? And the number one answer, they overwhelming, I think about 89% of the SMEs said funding. So can you take us through, how SMEs can navigate their way through by accessing funding, if you can kick off with that?
Well, in the last 2 years, we've seen a lot of platforms develop a simple, easy way for SMEs and MSMEs to access funds. The government has spoken to the bank. Even the CBN has an intervention for SMEs as well. However, funding may be what you would require, but you also know that the economy itself has been impacted. So having all the money does not necessarily solve the problem and does not necessarily mean that you're going to grow your business. And so you see today the government intervention saying, even if you have been given funding, can you hold on for 3 months so that these SMEs can use this funding appropriately so that they can be able to pay? And so you find that there are digital platforms today that any individual or business owner can go and apply. I know some banks through their mobile banking application can provide funding for your business if you want that as well. There are a lot of microfinance bank as well, making it possible for people to access funding. But I know because of the COVID-19, the restrictions or the limitations of how much you can get is now being impacted. I mean, before you could have access to 500,000, and I'm seeing some changes in the indices showing that because of the risk profiling of this COVID-19, you find that a lot of these people are now limiting the amount of money they can give to SMEs so that there would be chances for recovery. Because when you put too much funding into an economy that is suffering from lack of movement, lack of items to sell, lack of people being available to spend, lack of money even being available to spend as well, bad debts are on the increase as well. All of these things are impacting SMEs. And so, yes, funding may be available, but my advice to SMEs is reduce the need to go get loan or funding and ensure that it is absolutely necessary before you get funding. Otherwise, you would run into bad debts.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Okay, let's talk about from funding now to operations. What about the operations, the mechanics of these SMEs? How can that factor into what we're talking about in terms of navigating their way through these tough times?
All right. So one thing you would see is people are not moving around as they should. Logistics are being affected. The supply chain in itself has seen a decline in goods moving around. The last report I read was about 15% global reduction in logistic movement. And in Nigeria, that's about 27% impacted. You find that the operations of running a small business, because it's a smaller business, you have limited amount of funds, that's one. You are running this business within a small location. You need access to repeated turnaround of inventory, like going to the local market, like trying to source around your vicinity. Now, if everybody's not moving around, now if people are not keeping to the restrictions and keeping to the protective guidelines that we have, even that provides a risk to the small businesses as well. Definitely, this is impacting on the operations of the business of all SMEs. If the markets are not open 24/7, if you can't find the things you need to buy, production is impacted. If you can't find the right people to help in your business as well during this period, operations are also affected. So yes, you may have funds, but now having to deal with producing the things that you need, which in this kind of business is on a daily turnaround time, that would be a problem for SMEs today as well.
All right, and then what about business structures. Is now this period? Are you telling SMEs that they should, or rather, is the advice out there for SMEs that they should operate leaner, operations? What's your take on, as far as business structures are concerned for SMEs? How do they tackle that?
Well, one of the things that I'd advise, and that should happen as quickly as possible, is to digitize your business. If you operate a business where customers would come into your business location to buy from you, you're at risk because of the pandemic today. If you are dependent on certain numbers of individuals to manage your business and operate your business, you're at risk because of the pandemic as well. So the more digital you become, the more automated you become, the easier it is for you to keep your business running. So I would advise from a business structure point of view, an operational structure point of view as well, that the things that you can do with less people being around your business, the better for you. If you require somebody to do your bookkeeping, there are softwares online that you can also use to manage that. If you have your business not online at this moment, I would advise that you consider that as well, so that it limits the number of people that comes into your business location to buy things from you. If you are producing things and you have suppliers supplying your goods, or you have to go to your suppliers to get things, try to source for your suppliers online and try to close those transactions, so that the only engagement you're going to have with people would be for them to just come and deliver within a safe distance, of course, to ensure that business can continue to run. So a structure would be digitizing. Look at your business, look at areas in your business, the operational part, the customer engagement part, the production part, the logistic part. Which of these things can I digitize to keep my business going because of the limited resources that are available in terms of course, workforce, and of course, providing that environment for safe business running so that one doesn't get sick.
Fantastic. Thank you for that in-depth answer. So another thing, SME shouldn't be too scared of the word digitize. I think they tend to think it's too technical or anything or something like that. You would stress that there's nothing to be afraid of. Digitization is simple and straightforward.
Yes, it is actually. It just means putting your business online. Today, we've seen even the social media platforms now encouraging the ability to pay. Technology in the last 3 to 5 years has supported smaller business by finding ways to onboard smaller business without having to pay any setup costs. We have storefronts technology now available, and I think Institute has one of those platforms as well, where you can onboard your business without owning a website, and customers can find you, make payments, place an order, and still integrate that same platform into a logistic company where your goods can be picked up and delivered to a customer without even any intervention whatsoever from your business. This is the kind of structure that small businesses can adopt at this time to keep their business going.
Thank you for that. Okay, what about managing staff and then staff production? How about what about that? How does that play into the tale of navigating their way through the COVID-19 waters right now?
Well, everybody needs someone to do some work.
Yes. So
definitely we need people to be available. The right thing to do is to ensure that you provide the right guidelines. If you're going to employ people, find a way to ensure that the health and safety guidelines provided by the government is being adhered to. There's sanitizing of hands, there is wearing of masks, there are bowls to wash your hands, there are safe distances within. If people can work remotely to produce whatever you're selling, encourage that and set them up. One of the things I've seen is even call centers are setting up homes of their agents so that they can render those services in remote locations without necessarily having to come together for that to happen. As much as possible, if you can keep your staff within your business environment, that would help as well. I know a cake company who rented a flat for all the staff to be there in the last 3 to 4 months, and all the orders that were coming in were being fulfilled, and nobody was allowed to leave or come into the premises to ensure that production and the required number of staff are available.
And I assume that there was social distancing within that flat while they were making their cakes.
I'm sure there was. I'm sure there was.
What about sales, Jeff? How do you sell during these times?
So there was this webinar we had last week, and one of the conversations that I had with some of the people who attended was that people are spending less. People are spending on essential things now. Jobs are being cut. Salaries are being cut as well. You find that people don't earn as much as they normally would. So spending power has reduced. You need to position your business in the context of the pandemic. Ensure that you're providing the services and the products that are relevant to the situation that we have now, so that you can queue into those parts of those essential items that people would normally want to buy because of the limitations that we have today. You also have to know that people may not be available to talk to one-on-one because of the size of your business. So digitizing it allows you to get to the digital customer pool that are available today. In the last 3 months, people who use internet have increased by 40%. That means there are more people on their mobile phones in the last 3 months than there have been in a couple of months ago. And you can take advantage of that. WhatsApp, the social media pages, these are avenues in which you can push your business. Even when you're collecting payment, you don't have to collect physical cash. Today, remote payment options are available. I'm told that there's a new technology called Payment Link. Again, I know that InterSwitch has that on their platform as well, where you can generate a payment link that has the picture of what you're selling and send to someone. The person sees the item, pays for it, and then automatically get a logistic company to pick that up and deliver to the people. SMEs and MSMEs often have a 10-meter radius of their customer. I mean, if you're selling something, the longest amount of distance before a customer can come is about 10 meters, or within your environment as it is, because of the locality of the business. To reach out beyond that, my advice again is try to find a way to digitize your business.
Fantastic. We're out of time, but Jeff, I have to have you back to challenge you on the fact that Nigeria is still very cash-based, but great advice as far as digitization. I appreciate your time for coming on the show. We've just been speaking with Jeffrey Williams, Edem, Group Business Head, Merchant Payment Solutions at InterSwitch. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you for having me, Rotus.
All right, great stuff.